And one. Okay, let's make sure we've got what we need. There we go. Okay, just getting some technical stuff going. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of a South edition of Phoenix. We get together every week, and it's always great to visit you folks that are also looking for different options on creating a buzz in your business. Whenever we do any kind of networking, social media is great, and we all use it, and it should be done. But there should be a point somewhere in your business where you're actually talking to people. And this is where we come in. When we look for business activity meetings, these are when we get together. We call them BAMs. And we talk about our business. We talk about our family, dogs, anything. We want to know a little bit more about our members so that we can refer them, because you can always refer a friend. We can always refer someone that we know. There's been a few times in my history that I've referred somebody and it turned it out badly, but it didn't seem bad for them. It looked bad on me because I'm the one that referred them. So it's very important that we know who we're sending who, and because a client that trusts you will also trust where you send them. So it's very important that you know who they are, and that's what those business activity meetings does. And it's a great way to be able to really know what a person's work ethic is, how they follow up. And when anyone refers anything to me, I always work a little bit harder. Not that I don't work hard on everybody, because I do, but sometimes I'll work a little longer on some people because I know where they're connected to. So when they go back, they say, yeah, Tony did a good job, And not that that's important for my ego or anything. It's just that I want to make sure that the other person looks good because they have trusted me. And trust is very important in my line of work. So let's get a little bit of perspective of how Phoenix is doing on a overall way. This is our main hub. It's our pbex.ca site, and it's also phoenixbusinessexchange.com. It comes to this site. And this is where we have everything happening, all the hub that's going on. This is where it all starts. Member of the week is Shane Bayless. He is our chiropractor from the Bell's Corners group. Wonderful gentleman. He's been with Phoenix, oh my God, almost since the beginning. And wonderful, very, very dedicated guy. And he's grown a couple of times, several times actually, in his practice, and he gives services. They even have a service now with dogs. His wife does some dog clinic things, and that's great. Be able to go to somebody that is very knowledgeable about how pets' health is going, as well as your own. All right. So there's his e-card. There's a little video that just to give you an idea of what Shane does and the other stuff he does. We have 4 main chapters in that way. There's 3 weekly chapters, the Monday, Wednesday, and the Thursday group. And today is, of course, our South group. It's Thursday. And the Zoom number is embedded in those red buttons. So if you ever want to come in, you have a business and you're just sort of feeling the waters as to how you can get your name out there and how you can do things, this is a great way. The visitors are welcome. They can come a few times, and then you could decide whether or not on a permanent basis this might be something that could really work in your business. And it's all about connections. You get your connections first, because after that, you'll have the job of turning those connections into sales. And that's where it's all about, getting to know you. We also have an after-hours group where we meet once a month. Some people, they just can't meet during the day because they're just so busy. So they join our after-hours, and it's once a month. It's on the first Tuesday of every month. And it's from 7 to 8, 9 p.m., depending on how ruckus we are, how many people show. But it's a mastermind group, basically, and it's made to be able to set up your goals. And each month that we meet, he says, so how are you doing in this month? And we explain a little bit about how that all works. Why do we have the difficulties in our business that we do? And sometimes we'll come to a point where we're stuck. We're not sure where to go. And then you have, all the other people that have many, many decades of experience can probably give you some ideas of maybe what to try, what to do. And so we try and help young businesses that are just starting or the ones that are really have been doing it for a while. I'm still learning stuff through whenever Norm has some new ideas, I learn stuff from him or Eric and so on. We always get our knowledge from other people, and that's always why it's good to be able to meet that way. Special events. Basically, every Tuesday we got Bernie in his East Tradewinds networking, and it's on a 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock in that area. And I do my meditation every Friday at 1:30. The next one is June the 6th. That's this 1:30. We're going to be talking about the wrong path in a question mark. Is it the wrong path? So we're going to talk about that. Penny Lee has her dance every so often, and the timetable is right there. And the Potluck Friends Friday, that's going to be on not this Friday, but next Friday. It is a way that you can get together personally. It's like when all the farmers used to get together and they would just talk and chat about things. And Penny Lee has a great thing going on there, so we really, really appreciate that. I wanted to show you one thing regarding the golf thing because we have a golf tournament coming up for charity on September the 4th. And we've set up a sponsorship page so that if you wanted to look at the different ways that you could sponsor this, get some advertising out there for you and promote your company. There's the different sponsors that you can do. It explains a little bit about what the information does or what that particular sponsor does. Okay, and if you want to sponsor, you can just do that right online here. Okay, and there are all kinds of them. There's Yellow Ball. There's the sponsorship hole in one, and I think Eric could probably relate to that. He's had a couple of hole in ones, I think. So it's a great. It's a great way to be able to raise a little bit of money for charity, and it's going to the Canada Food Cupboard in that way. Bernie, is there anything else you wanted to add for that? I know you're really involved with that, so we really appreciate that. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, Tony, we're going to have a swag options coming up. So if you're looking to do swag, Penalty's brother joined us on the Tuesday session of uh, the monthly session that we have.
Yeah, the after hours. Yeah.
After hours group. And so I'm meeting with him next week, and we'll have options for swag, whether you're doing it for the golf tournament or otherwise. We'll see what can happen in that space. And we're looking for golfers and we're looking for sponsors, or if you have other things you want to promote or you want to offer something that we put in a raffle. Any of those things would work. And back to you, Tony.
Okay. And so far we're doing pretty good with our sales. So far this year we're at 110,000 in terms of sales. And our overall sales is actually 4.9 million. That was entered incorrectly, but it's all good. It was an addition error, but it's 4.9 million. We're coming up to 5 million though, and we're running at 7,700, just over 7,700 referrals to date since 2016. So that's a great feat for a group like ours. And so far, we're at 161 referrals this year. So it's a great way to be able to measure and to see how we're doing in that way. Okay. So let's move right into our education segment. And Eric, you said you had a little something that you could bestow on us.
You got it. Two things. So I'm reading right now the book Be Useful by Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's done a lot of things, obviously. Was a kid, became a world famous bodybuilder. Then he ended up going into acting. Then he became governor, and he always says that he would have tried to be president of the United States if he was born in the States. So the guy's got a lot to offer. He's had some failures, of course, in his world and in his life, if you know him. But in his book, it was kind of neat. And in sales, there's something that we really always get coached on is that how do you listen to your client? How do you listen to your audience? From Chris Voss to everybody else. So anyway, so here's a quote that Dalai Lama said and that he put in his book. And he said, when you talk, you are only repeating what you already know. But if you listen, you may learn something new. And isn't that so amazingly true? Type A personalities, salespeople, they love to yap away. I'm one of them. I know they yap about what they know. They're so proud. They're like, oh, I know about this, so I'm going to tell you. And they always think that the audience is like enamored and loves to hear what they have to share. But how do you listen, right? So that's such a skill that we absolutely need to do. And remember, when you're speaking and you catch, and I do this, when you catch yourself speaking and speaking and speaking, you got to say, "Oh, I'm still speaking. You know, what can I do?" And I love it. Actually, it just made me think of, I don't know if you guys remember, what was the movie there? Anyway, I'll say it another time. But one of the characters in the cartoon, he's like, hey, shut up, everybody. Who's talking? Oh, it's me. Ooh, shut up. It's King Julian, and he says it with the accent. And I just love that. It's like so crystal clear. So when we're in sales, we really need to listen. And if we catch ourselves talking too much, it's really simple to just take a step back and say, you know what? I've talked enough. I'm sure I'm boring you. And then just go into the next question. Go back into that next question and go ask for something. The other thing that we perceive, unfortunately, is risk, right? So, something that he had in his book, which was kind of neat, he goes, if you're someone who is afraid of risk, it may help to reframe the risk the same way that we have reframed failure. So, failure has been one of those buzzwords that everybody has tried to reframe for the longest time. Failure is good, go for the no. The more failures you have, the closer you are to success. But one of the things that holds back people is, oh my God, I'm going to risk, and then insert the blank. I'm going to risk that this person thinks I'm an idiot. I'm going to risk that I look like I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to risk. So you're always risking and thinking about risk, and you're always thinking about failure in two things. They are two things that have not happened. So what he writes in his book, risk, in my opinion, is not real. It's something you cannot hold on to and you cannot count on. No two people have the same definition for it, and it's a moving target. It's made up, it's a perception.
Hmm.
So what we need to do in this is you got to always look back at it and say, okay, is this something that I can control? Same thing when somebody gets anxious, right? Is risk, failure, they're all in that same bubble. What is it that I can control? Because I can't control the outcome. I don't know what the outcome is yet. It hasn't happened. It's in the future. But what I can control is what I'm doing in the present, whether that's an email to somebody, a text to somebody, a call to somebody, or it's just getting back to somebody. So one of the biggest challenges that we have, and I'll finish with this one, is that in every business and sales, follow-up is 99% of the equation.
Mhm.
And it was interesting because I was listening to something just yesterday, and they were saying, even, and this sounds horrible, but even an idiot can close a deal. And how do they do that? It's because they're present, because they're listening, and because they made sure that they followed up with the prospect. Because 9 out of 10 people do not follow up with that prospect. So I'll leave you with that.
Thank you very much, Eric. Very, very good words of wisdom. Awesome. All right. All right. Let's get into our introductions. So, when we are talking about what we do and the ways that we help people, when you do your infomercial, give an idea of how you help people. Like people will choose you because they need something. They're not choosing you because you have a mortgage or you sell cars or you fix cars or anything. They choose you because they have a problem that you might have a solution for, and that would make them happy. So that's what we want you to do. Turn the whole thing around and says, how would somebody choose you because of what you do? What problems do you solve so that they would go out of their way to choose you? All right. And let's start with Norm. Go ahead, Norm. Why would people choose you?
Well, because I do stuff different. I had a referral from Eric. Person has a problem with a window, a double hung, and I didn't know it was a rental at the time. And I said, well, I'm going to charge you to fix this window because the window wouldn't stay up. I said, use a stick. And he says, I can't because it's a tenant. So if I lived in there, I would use a stick, but because it's a tenant, I'm worried about liability. If they move the stick and the thing comes down, squashes their fingers. So it's kind of interesting. Everybody has a different perspective on it. And at the River Lounge last week, when I did that stuff with the high performance glass, the most amazing reaction I ever had in years and years was Marion, because Marion's an engineer, and when I put that 9 layers of glass in front of that light and brought the reading down to 24, like Marion was like, "What?" Just that engineers weren't exposed to this; they don't know this stuff exists, right? So that was an interesting thing. So well, I've shown the video, but in the in-person thing where people can actually see and feel what's going on, that makes a big difference. And I got another one, like I told you a few minutes ago about weather stripping a door. You don't know your door is leaking now, right? But if you can see light through your door, call me down. Because once it's cold and you can feel the cold coming in, I'm saying, if I got to wear gloves, this is not happening. You knew for 6 months that your door was leaking air, right? Or light, which means, so you don't feel the heat coming in, but you do feel the cold coming in. So if somebody has a problem with light coming around their door, that's when they should be giving me a call. It's not now, not when I'm going to turn them down once it gets cold enough so they can feel the cold coming in. So Boyer Boys Home Maintenance Repair, we fix your home on the honeydew list, we get it done.
Yeah. And any BAMs?
No, but I did get a referral from, like I mentioned, from Eric. So I got a referral and I'm working
Okay.
on that.
Okay, perfect. And so it also too, when it gets really cold, things don't stick as well when it's going on a cold surface when you're trying to weather strip or something. But yeah, very good idea. So they choose you because you solve their problems to keep warm and to get more comfortable. But they have to do it in a timely manner, obviously.
Well, the problem with the cold is what gets cold is my hands, right? And that's not happening. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
your bad planning doesn't constitute an emergency in my world.
Thanks a lot, Norm. Okay, and Q, you're next.
Thanks, Tony. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kyo, and I'm your insurance lady of the group. And if people have somehow problems or will want to decline for insurance, they might think that they will not be able to insure themselves or their income, but that's actually not true. You can still be able to insure yourself and your income using non-medical life and critical illness insurance. And if you want to know how to do that, you can contact me for more details. I'm here to help. Q for World Financial Group, providing you with financial peace of mind when you need it most. Thank you.
Thank you, Q. And BAM wise, did you meet anybody this week?
Not for this week.
Okay. All right. And Bernie, did you want to mention anybody, like any kind of promo? Because you have a list of some of the promos that.
Yeah, I do it as everybody talks and insert it each and every time.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
you'll notice the chat's getting a little fatter as everybody talks. It's not because they're not putting a prompt in there, but you'll see several everything about. Carl's got an event coming up, and at Bistro or the Ad Hive location, they're doing a free come in. You can come on in on Tuesdays, and so it's as they talk, I cut and paste, so that's why my eyes keep bouncing back and forth. It's
no
the
problem.
dance of sharing the information. Otherwise, it'd be a deluge, and no one wants that.
Yeah, exactly. And we are looking for a home or an auto insurance. I got a call a few days ago about if we had anybody that does that, and we do not. So if you know of a good auto and home insurance person, let them know, because people are asking. All right. So this is business that it's already here, and they're just looking. General contractors, of course, another one that we're constantly being asked for home renovation, because we're right now in the season, Jacqueline? This is where people want to do their home and get that financing so they get their home fixed up. And over to Eric. Oh, sorry, Eric is presenting today, so sorry about that. So we'll get Eric later on. But let's go move to Jacqueline.
Good morning, everyone. And I know we were all waiting for what Bank of Canada was going to suggest that they do with the interest rates, I did take a long, deep breath. I did lift my shoulders. I did take them back and releasing them down, thinking that I don't know what the Bank of Canada could possibly do, given the state of the impact of tariffs. It impacts everyone. All of my clients are wondering, certainly those who are in business for self, how is this going to impact what I do? And where am I getting my services and where am I sending my services? I had a beautiful conversation with someone who actually does workshops and has books that she's sending. And she wasn't sure what the impact was going to be of the tariffs. She had to do some homework. How could that possibly impact her? She had to stop and think because what they're doing on the other side of the bridge, she can't really understand. And so we have this beautiful conversation. She asked me, what's going on with the mortgages, Jacqueline? How is that impacting you? And how is that impacting your clients? Well, they held the rates because of just that. They have no idea. The collective, they don't know what's happening with tariffs. So they held the rates so that we have an opportunity to wait, stop, think, pause. What do we want to do? Are we refinancing? Are we going to wait to see if interest rates change? Are we going to wait for July? Let us take a moment and see what you need now and then what you need in the future. So when you're looking for strategies for your mortgage money, man, you want to contact your mortgage honey.
That's why people call you, Jacqueline. You're the honey. And any BAMs this week?
Only on Tuesday with Bernie.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a good collection there. Great. And over to Mr. Sam Sturris.
Thank you, Tony. Sam Sturris, ConnectedCars.ca. There's my contact information in the chat. I do dash cameras in my specialty. I also do minor repairs and car oil change and brake jobs. And why do people come to me, as Tony asked? Because I give them special service, I guess it would say, personal service. I don't farm out my work to an apprentice or somebody like that. I do it myself, and I try and take care of people's cars like I take care of our own cars. I don't buy expensive parts and things like that that are unnecessary, but I do buy quality parts that make sure that the vehicle is repaired and stayed repaired so people can enjoy the drive. Let's see here. What I'm talking about this week is one of my customers came to me because their TPMS came on in their car, which is the tire pressure monitoring system. Came to me and 3 of his tires were over 44 pounds pressure, which is way too much. And one of them was at 22 pounds. And I don't know what set off the TPMS warning, but any one of those 4 are no-go. It ended up with the rim was leaking on the inside because he changed his tires summer to winter on the same rims, which is something I don't recommend people do. Have a separate set of rims for your snow tires as well as your summer tires, so you don't get those leaks. And I sent him back to the person that had that work done for him so he wouldn't have to get an extra charge. That should be done for free by the person who didn't do the job properly, as I told him. Anyway, let's see. That's it for Sam. Other than BAMs, let's see. Eric contacted me on the weekend, talked about going to where our cottage is in Port Stanley, and I gave him some recommendations for restaurants that we enjoy, and I'm pretty sure he's going to enjoy them ourselves. And we talked just this morning about palm trees on the beach in Port Stanley. Yes, there's lots of places to drink in Port Stanley. They have their own liquor store, and it's a town of 2,200 people. It's kind of interesting that way. Anyway, besides that, Eric Sinego contacted me, another Eric, and he had problems connecting his phone for some reason. The stereo system that I put in a couple of years back didn't recognize his phone, and I told him that more than likely it's because he had several phones connected on the line, and it only takes so many, and it won't recognize one additional one. So I gave him recommendations, and I haven't heard from him, so I'm assuming that everything went well for him. That's it for me, Sam Sturris, ConnectedCars.ca, today's mobile electronics without the cost of a vehicle, and lots more.
Thanks a lot, Sam. You do great work. That's what I'm hearing. And over to Mr. Bernie.
Good morning, folks. So what do? I connect people. So when do you want to call me? Oh, when you're going, hang on, I'm missing something. Or I'm looking for to expand and grow, not physically. I mean, I can take you to that bistro about that and get you,
Down.
fatten up, but that's not the goal. And I just posted into the chat. Oh, sorry, East Trade Winds. That's part of it. But that's another space that I'm heavily involved with and doing promotional elements. Then also, here's the rest of the contact information, that stuff that I provide. And there's an item I just want to highlight on, and so Knack for Business podcast is another element. The Property Wizard podcast is another element. But East Trade Winds, we had had someone do the educational minute this week. So I'm going to push into the chat a link, and that's Tony doing the presentation. So this gives you a sense of what Bernie does. So he's doing it's out of context in that the production of what I've just posted here, and it's downloadable, is Tony was giving it a 5-minute presentation, a quick, hi, something you should know. And this is what we can do inside the Creative Insight universe. We can take a snippet, frame it, put the logo of the company in front of it, QR code to lead them in, put a call to action. And, Tony just gave, and it was ad hoc, so it was not planned for. And it's like capture the moment, and then ta-da. And so that's part of the elements. But also the other part of this whole thing with creative is sharing that information, drop shipping it in the right spots, whether it's LinkedIn or handing it over to somebody. Even our podcasts, we've Wayne did a podcast recently and pushed it out about his Motivate You, and now he has a file and he posted on his website. With that, I'm going to stop because there's a little voice going, Bernie, you're talking too much. Somebody's talking too much. So I'm going to stop. Over to you, Tony.
All right. Thank you very much, Bernie. Okay. Yeah, you do good work, man. You're such a dedicated guy. Hi, everybody. Tony Jennis from Higher Self. I'm the spirit guy of the group. I'm a medium and clairvoyant. I do readings. You know why they call it a reading? Because you have the answer. You have the answer to everything. And we don't make it up. We read your energy. And so as a teacher, I'm always, I'm happy to give people readings for the first while. But after a while, after someone comes back again and again, I then start shifting the whole thing around to let's turn this book around so you could read your own energy and guide them through that. And then that way they feel more self-empowered. They feel that they can do it, that all the answers is inside of you. And one of the ways that we do it is through a tuning session where somebody comes in and with various frequencies on my tuning forks, they open up various portals, whether it's intuition, whether it's the all-knowing, because that is inside you too. Everything that you have there is all there, all the answers. So all the things you've gone through, the traumas, all the hardships that you've gone through, in many cases have been repeated because you're still trying to get and learn something. It's all about a lesson to be learned. And this is why that we constantly do this on a basis that every time a person comes in. But I've added something to my tuning sessions. There is a massage table that I use, and there's no physical touch, but I work on the auric field, all the field that is around you. And at the end of every session now, we're going to be incorporating gongs, crystal bowls, because these are some of the newer things that I've picked up. And it's sort of an idea. It's like a sound bath for about 4 or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so, just to smooth all the energies off. One client said the gongs, it just felt it went right through her heart and everything, and it was just mesmerizing. That is going to be in our sound bath event on June the 25th. It's a Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. to 9. And I think I have 3 more spots available here in my studio in Canada. and the rest you can come online. I've got over half a dozen or 7 or something like that people that are come in virtually so that they can experience it. They just need to get a good speaker or earbuds so that you can get the full effect of the beautiful sounds that we're going to have in these 2 hours. It's all about self-discovery in this one. So I hope you can make it for that, and I've got a link there for if you want more information on the sound bath, and it's going to be amazing. So Tony Jennis from Higher Self, we are here to raise your spirits, okay? So every week, we always give one of our members more of an opportunity to talk about their industry, to talk about their business, than more in about a minute or two. And this week, it's Eric Perrin. He's our incredible realtor for this group. He's been with us for several years, and he does amazing work from what I've been told. I can't wait to give Eric a referral whenever that happens. So, Eric, take it away, whatever you have for us there, bud.
All right, good morning. So I'm going to bore you with stats. I'm going to bore you with some numbers, but they're very important. So when I meet with a potential seller and we look at what's going on in the market, we look at like what Jacqueline was talking about, what's going on with mortgages, what's going on with interest rates. What we need to do first and foremost is we need to talk about a few things. One of the things are, how are we going to market your house? Right? So that's all the marketing, that's the video, that's the photos, that's the social media aspect. It's also about allowing us to do what's called an agent open house. Not too many realtors do it. At Engel and Volkers, we really like to do that a lot. And what it is it's a Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll get some drinks, some charcuterie, some sandwiches, whatever it is. And then what we do is we email out to the realtors in Ottawa that we are doing what's called an agent open house. And what it is it's an opportunity for agents privately, without clients, without public, to come into a house and then do a walkthrough. They do a walkthrough, they talk amongst themselves. And what really can be good here is that it also allows the listing agent an opportunity to get feedback from other realtors. And then that feedback we then share back with the sellers. Funny enough, I heard a great, what I consider a quote or statement or whatever from my athletic therapist yesterday. I was there and he dated a realtor once and he came up with this. And I thought, oh, it's kind of neat to hear things from outside of the real estate industry. And so when we're trying to sell a house, a seller always has a lot of emotions and a lot of memories regarding that home, usually. And so when we are talking almost down the seller from the ledge of saying, well, my house is worth $1 million, but really the market is only worth 700. The perception of a seller sometimes can be that my property is worth way more. And the reason is the emotions, the memories, etc., right? Oh, I'm so proud of that kitchen that I built myself with my hands 30 years ago. You're right, you're very proud of it. However, things have changed since. So what he said to me, which really resonated, was, remember, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we are no longer selling your house. We are selling this house. And that's just a really neat way to make a little bit of that emotional separation. We understand that it is an emotional aspect. And I just had a listing appointment yesterday where it was the family home since the 60s. The parents have passed on, and now I'm dealing with I'm working with the daughter who's, same age as I am, right? So now we're dealing with emotions, but she's very good at being able to separate. And I mentioned that to her yesterday, and she said, yeah, that's absolutely right. We need to make that separation. So what I'm going to do is I am going to share a spreadsheet that I share with my sellers. The reason I share this is that I want sellers to see exactly where I am coming from. And more than anything, what do you got there, Sam? You bigger? Yeah, I don't even know how to make this thing bigger. Maybe a zoom, I guess. Do you want me to zoom in like this?
Well, you can try pressing your control button and then just move the wheel on your mouse up and see if that works.
That worked.
Good.
Yeah, that helps here. Okay, so let's
Huh.
do this.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, what I do is I bring this to prospective sellers, and what I say to them is, I've gone to do all of the statistical backgrounds of this. If you're more somebody who wants to see the numbers, I'm more than happy to share this with you. If you want me to skim through it, just tell me, and I'm going to go as fast as I can through this. But I really want you to see the work that I've done in the background. So in this morning, this is something I presented just this week, but I removed some of the personal information. But you can see here, the MLS district was 9010 in Canada. And then what I do in the white column here, the first one, is I write down the client's property. So one of the things I'll write down here is, what is the location of your property? This one was close to parks and schools. One of the issues is, unfortunately, that also leads to extra traffic and parking problems, especially in the wintertime. The lot size, it's a 35 frontage, so that's the front lawn of the property is 35 wide, and then the depth is 104. The house style is a detached two-story built by Phoenix Homes. Year build was 2019. What we are now able to do on MLS finally is when we put a house up for sale, the MPAC, the municipality square footage that you get taxed on, they actually share that with you. I don't have that when I'm not listing a property, so I pay for the report on MPAC, and this particular home was 2,323 square feet above ground, so that does not include your basement. Then the kitchen, it was large, there was plenty of storage, ceramic flooring, and they had a pantry. The family room was open to the dining room and to the kitchen. It had a laminate floor. The dining room was open concept, laminate floor again. The bedrooms, so this is above and below. So we've changed the way that we word things now. 4 means 4 above grade, and 1 means 1 below grade, meaning the basement. So that means you got 4 bedrooms above. It could be on the main floor, second floor, third floor, and then that +1 is in the basement. And the bedrooms have a laminate flooring. Some of them have carpet, some of them have hardwood. And then the bathrooms, FH 3+1, that's 3 full bathrooms, meaning you have a toilet, you have a sink, you have a shower and bath. The other +1 is the powder room. Then we go to the basement. How much is it finished? This one has a rec room. It also has a bathroom, which I don't have on that sheet. The garage, 2+4, means 2 cars are in the garage, 4 cars can be parked outside on the driveway. Interior condition, it's good, might need some paint and touch-ups. The exterior condition is good. The windows and the roof, they're original. We know it's a 2019 home, so it's not too old, unless it's, cheaper materials. The fireplace, there was none. Central air, yes, it has it. Heating fuel, yes, it does. Depending on the home, I might say that, oh, it's electric, or it's, water, or it's natural gas. But in this neighborhood, we know it's all natural gas. Exclusions, nil. Nothing is excluded from the deal. So then what I go to is comparable number 1. I'll put down the address, and then what I say is distance to the subject. So I can say through my sheets, I can see that it's 100 meters away, 800 meters away, so we can see what the proximity is. Is it in the same district? What was the date sold? So we know this house in particular was sold May 9, so nice and recent. It was on the market for 10 days. So that was relatively recent and fast. The listed price was 995. The sale price, so they probably got a multiple offer situation, was $1 million. So we know that the list price to the price that they received and the sale price was 0.5% higher. Time adjustment, recent, so we're not going to adjust anything for that. So this is where it gets nitty-gritty. Location. So this house is situated on a street. So what I do to my subject house that I am presenting to is I deducted $20,000 because the house that I'm presenting to has potential parking issues, has extra traffic, although it's close to a park and a school. And then usually what happens is the person I'm presenting to, the seller in this case, says, yeah, that's justified because, yeah, that's an issue. I often see a smile because they're acknowledging that, yeah, I know that that's a deduction for my house. Once you start breaking this down, clients start seeing it a little bit more. The lot size. So it's a 42 wide property. So because you're getting more property, more land, usable land versus this 54 here, which I'll get to in a minute, plus or minus, we're deducting another $30,000 because you've got less land. Remember, in real estate, land appreciates and a home depreciates. So the only time you're going to get more money for your land is when you renovate your home. If it's a 30, 40-year-old home, that means that the valuation, the decrease of the valuation is based on the house, not the land. Land is always the premium. The house style was the same. Year build was roughly the same. Here, though, we can see that there's 2,800, so 2,879 square feet. Plus or minus, depending on the buyer, we're going to do a deduction of 30,000 because the property that I'm looking at is 2,300. Now, the kitchen in our case, we're giving it a premium of $20,000 because these have dark cabinets. It's smaller, so plus or minus, we're going to give you a premium of $20,000 there. On the dining room, we're going to deduct $5,000 because this one is separate dining room and it also has hardwood flooring versus the laminate. So then the bedrooms, we're not going to change much here because the bedrooms I'm presenting to have laminate flooring and the carpet is upstairs. So some people might actually like carpet. So it's kind of like hardwood, carpet, then laminate. Laminate is kind of a third tier on a home that's worth 900. If you're in a home that's, 4, 5, 600, laminate is definitely more on the average, but not in a $900,000 home. So then bathrooms, what we did is we gave it a premium of $20,000 because we have that extra bathroom. Once again, these are numbers that are not specific to any particular formula. What I'm using here are numbers that a buyer may or may not plus or minus to the value of the home when they decide that they want to put an offer. So what we're trying to do once again here is we're trying to look at it from the perspective of your home will never sell unless you have a buyer that's willing to pay for it. You can sell it for as much money as you want, but you're never going to be able to sell it until a buyer puts an offer for it. So the basement here, they had an unfinished basement. I could probably add more money here depending, but it's already framed in. The insulation is already there. Maybe there's a premium of $30,000 there. The interior condition or exterior condition, in this particular case, this home that we're comparing it to has a pool. It has a stone exterior, but it also has interlock. So unfortunately, pools are really of zero value. They're only of value to the seller when they were living there. They don't really add much to the property. It's unfortunate, but they do have interlock. They do have some other features there. So what we're doing is we're deducting $15,000 on this particular case. They do have a fireplace in this case, so we're deducting another $5,000. What it all does at the bottom here is we can see total adjustments, pluses and minuses are about negative $35,000. So from $1 million, that brings us down to about 965. So that's how I compare the home. You can see the next home, I won't go through the details, but that one brings me to a value of roughly 935. You can see there it's not an exact science. And then on this one, it brings me down to about a 920. So then what I say to my sellers is I say, listen, if you would like to sell your house, chances are you're going to get offers between 920 and 965. Based on that, where do you think you would like to list your home? And the conversation around that I've already had before that is, if you want to sell your house as fast as possible, the only way to do it is to reduce the price, right? Based on it being staged and painted and all that kind of stuff. Because prices will attract buyers. And in this market, believe it or not, if you're even $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 below what might be considered a market price, homes are selling with multiple offers. It's uncanny. It's quite crazy, actually. So in this particular case, I said, you know what? You might want to start with a listing price of $939. That should be enough to get you buyers in the door. We're going to do some open houses, and then we're going to see basically in the first 2 weeks how many showings we got, and then if we've received any offers, and then also have we received any kind of feedback regarding the house. So that's really a great way of doing it. During the open house for the agents, which is on Thursday, that's a great way to get feedback as well. So we're going to get feedback from agents, and then we're going to get feedback from the public. And from that, we're going to be able to, within the first 2 weeks, see if our price range is competitive or is it too low. The best thing is if it's too low, all that does, as you know, is when something is on sale, what happens? Fear of missing out. People are going to rush to the house. People are going to go and see it, and you might get an offer very quickly. So that is, in a nutshell, how I present the stats of what I do in the background. I think I've mentioned and I've shown you guys the marketing that I do afterwards. But this is the breakdown. And so you can see the breakdown of these homes. This home listed for 965, and you can see it sold for 965 as well. So you can see it was bang on price wise. And then here it was listed at 949.9, and it actually sold for 960. So there's an example of, you know, the possibility of a home still selling for slightly above what it got listed for based on what buyers are looking for. So with that, any questions, comments? All righty.
Eric,
So
do you do this for every buyer or seller that comes to? Because so many times I've had properties listed over the years, and they basically come in. 'Cause I invite them in. At that point, that was way before Phoenix,
yeah,
and they just said, "Well, I think we should just list it for." Well, at that time there wasn't anything in the nines,
yeah.
going back a few decades, but it was yeah, let's list it for like 450 or 500, and it's
Yeah.
sort of a slap on the chest sort of amount. And
And then it's the let's see what happens, right?
yes, that's
So
exactly.
as you know, I really try and be as professional as I possibly can, and I'm always learning how to become more professional. You're never, you know, they always say, you know, you're never perfect. There's always something you can learn. There's always something you can do. So absolutely, this is part of my checklist. I have a checklist with 60 or 70 items. I could actually show it to you if ever you wanted to see it, but and this is one of them. So what I do is I'll tell you, I'm going to present this to you, but I'm not going to give it to you unless you list your property with me. Once we've signed the contract, I'm happy to share this with you, leave it behind so you can see the numbers and everything else. I don't want them using all of these numbers to either sell the house on their own or to go to another agent and do it. I did this not long ago for a well, for a house that sold, and I came in with this and I said, I think that your house is going to sell for between, I should look it up. But anyway, I said, I think it's going to sell for between like 14, like 1,470,000 and maybe 1,520,000. It's going to depend once again, right? It's never an exact science. In those price ranges, you can easily be off by about $50,000 and still be very confident. So what I said was, I think we should probably list your home at 1,499,000, so 1,500,000. Where do you think your house is going to sell? Seller said, well, I think it's going to sell at 1.6. And I said, okay. Now, I did not get the listing. I didn't win it. I was the second runner up. I'm okay with that. Failure is fine. You got to learn from it. What happened is they listed it at 1,495,000, and within 6 days they sold it for 1,485,000. So using this spreadsheet is what got me to the 1,500,000 in the first place. I was bang on, and I was very proud of that because at least I did what I needed to do. Once again, it's like we talked about earlier, I cannot control the outcome, but what can I control? I can control my market research. I can control my comparables because those are all factors that I can control. And so, yeah, absolutely. I do this for every property. If you've got a $300,000 condo to sell or you have a $2 million property to sell, I'm going to be doing this exact spreadsheet for you so that you know, and it's part of me, right? You guys know me well enough. I care so much about you as a client, as a person, and I'm going to show you as much respect as I can. And this to me is respecting your property and respecting the sale that you are about to undergo. And this gives you the background. It's not just the house down the, well, a perfect example. Last night, She said, don't forget the house down the street sold for 450, but there was a massive mold problem in the house. Right? So if I had looked at that house and said, oh yeah, it's sold for 450, I could have just, in Tony, in that example that you mentioned, I could say, yeah, you know what? Your house is probably pretty close to the same without knowing any of the factors. So yeah, why don't we list your house for like 450, 460 and let's see what happens. Well, that would be way undervalued. And I didn't do my research. I didn't do my homework, you know? So what I should have done in that case, well, not what I should have done, I haven't done it yet, but I should have been able to look at all of the properties and said, well, that one's selling for 550, 530, 580, and then I got a 450. What's going on? Ring, ring, call the listing agent. Hey, what happened in your transaction? You were way below the average of the property. Was what happened? Was it a structural issue? And then maybe they would have said, oh yeah, it was a mold issue, you know?
Yeah, that's expensive to fix.
Well,
Yeah.
100%, right? That's a massive remediation. Massive remediation.
Yeah. That's a
So
red
yeah,
flag.
absolutely, I'll do this for every single person, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, go ahead, Norm.
Norm. So do you factor in the builder?
Yes and no.
Like I looked at a place where they call me in for consulting for leakage.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, your house is leaking because this and this, and so's that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, and that guy.
Yeah.
I was able to tell from hundreds of yards away who would probably have leaks just because how the builder built this guy's house.
You know, here's the thing, Norm. This is the sad part about it, is that when I'm listing your home, I'm trying to get the best price I can for your property, but I need to disclose any major deficiency that a buyer cannot see with their own eyes, right? Like that's just professionalism. So if I know that there was a leak in a basement, there was a crack, you know, you did the polyethylene whatever injection, and you got the repair, it's a great thing to say, you know what, we're going to disclose that. We're going to show the invoice, and we're going to make sure that the invoice is available to the home inspector. Because the home inspector and the buyer, when they do the home inspection, the last thing you want is the home inspector to say, here are the issues. Now the buyer goes home and they go, oh my God, I got this, I got this, I got that, I got that. So what it does is it really makes the buyer walk away from a purchase feeling really off. So if we can have all the disclosure, all of the invoices, all of the answers, the home inspector will make that buyer feel fantastic because they'll say, yeah, there's a crack there, no problem, we got the invoice. They had an issue with their attic, here's the invoice for the re-insulation. They had a leak in the roof, here's the mold busters guy, they did the spray, they did the fix, they did everything they needed to do. So now the buyer walks away going, there's really nothing to worry about. Although there was issues with the house. So that's what you're trying to do. Now the buyer, we're up almost at 9 o'clock here, 1 minute to go. But yes, it does matter. But as the seller, I'm going to say to my seller, I'm going to say, listen, it really depends on the buyer. Do they know their homes? Do they have a realtor who's going to discuss with them what one home builder might be versus the other? That's a complete variable. So I leave it out and I don't make any deductions. If it's a custom home, though, very different. If I've got a $2.5 million custom home that I know was built to absolute amazing and above and beyond builder code, yes, I'm going to give a premium to that.
Well, like I told this customer, I said, the windows are installed to code. It's not against code, but they're installed wrong.
Exactly.
Right? It's just because it's what I know. My specialty is the windows. So,
but I'm not going to bring that up as a seller. Obviously, from the buyer's perspective, obviously, I'm going to bring that up as much as I possibly can, right? From a buyer's perspective, we want as many deductions as we can. And a seller, I'm trying to, but if there's a deficiency in the windows and we know about it, and it's going to, like I always say, right? Water infiltration is the worst one. You know, a deficient window that's lost its seal, big deal. It really doesn't matter other than the visual and a couple of extra bucks for your heating bill. What matters is it leaking, right? Because now that becomes a fundamental issue to the house.
Well, if the seller solves a leaking problem before he puts it on the market, right? That's an investment that he should make. This was a $350 investment to solve the problem.
Exactly. Absolutely, you do that. 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else? It's 9 o'clock, so I'll be quick in my answer if you need one.
Thank you very much, Eric. So if you want to set up a BAM with Eric, I'm sure you'll find it entertaining. Are you guys still on Somerset?
Well, we have an office at Somerset. We have an office on Bank Street in the Glebe. I was at the old Ottawa South location, which is in Manotick, right on Main Street. So then we also have one on Wellington, which is in Westboro. So you can meet me anywhere you want. Copies on me.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Eric. That's great. And to those that are on Facebook Live and YouTube Live and with LinkedIn, thank you for being with us and sharing the meeting with us. And Bernie, do you have a quote for us just to set us off?
Well, oddly enough, yes, I do. And it won't set you off, but it'll just give you more wisdom. The real opportunity for success lies within the person, not in the job. Zig Ziglar.
Perfect. Okay. And we'll see you next week.